Good morning and welcome to FRA's Preparing to Launch webinar series. This morning I am with Campbell Jeffrey, who is an FRA senior, and he is bound for Duke University in the fall. Campbell was just announced as this year's valedictorian, which is super exciting.
Yes.
And definitely has some good advice he can share with everyone. Campbell, thank you for being here. Let's jump in. What are some of the things that you first got involved in at FRA?
So I've pretty much been at FRA for all my life, kindergarten through 12th grade, and beginning in lower school, I had a love of performing arts, and then also sports. So I did all four sports, baseball, basketball, soccer, and football. Obviously, that took definitely a lot of time in middle school, as well as doing science Olympiad and math Olympiad, 5th through 8th grade. And then as far as performing arts, I did choir in 5th and 6th grade and trumpet starting in the 7th grade. So that's kind of a summary of my lower school and middle school experience.
Yeah, and so as you got into high school, did you keep doing those things? Did you switch it up a little bit?
So I would say it wasn't that I didn't enjoy those activities, but in high school, you really start to find out who you are as a person. And I believe that I found myself and found the activities that I loved in high school. So I still play the trumpet for the jazz ensemble, the concert band, and the pep band. And then freshman year, the Innovation Lab opened on campus, and that's when I knew that I immediately loved doing robotics. So I pretty much spend hundreds of hours every year, and we travel to competitions, and we've gone to the world championship 3 years in a row. So it's been a major time commitment, but I would say switching over from sports to robotics, really following my passions, has allowed me to become the person I am today.
That's awesome. And it's been so fun to watch you and all your work in there. What is an important piece of advice that you've received along the way that still impacts your work or your life today?
Yes. I know it sounds extremely cliched, but do what you're passionate about. Don't hesitate to follow your heart at all, ever. What you love doing is going to make you the most happy and feel the most content as you progress throughout lower school, middle school, and high school. And of course, also, especially going to a school like Franklin Road Academy, your number one job is like to be a student. So make sure you're putting in hard work every single day. Don't procrastinate on your work, and just especially just enjoy your time here and be the best student that you can be.
It's great advice. What is something that you look back on now that you're a senior and you wonder why you worried about it so much?
I would say transitioning from lower school to middle school, and then transitioning from middle school to high school, those leaps that seem extremely big in your life aren't quite as big as I made them out to be. I was terrified of high school. I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so hard. I'm not going to be able to handle the work or just like the social life of high school. But I believe the teachers and your friends, like, they do an amazing job of getting you ready for the transition from each of the different schools. And I would say one of like the biggest techniques that like you have to learn as you progress is learning how to manage your time better, because there is a certain step up in independence from lower school to middle school, and especially middle school to high school, where you get to choose which activities you actually want to do.
That's really great. And you're right, you do get more time, and clearly you've handled the time well. So
Yes.
we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
What is an important lesson that you've learned either the hard way or the easy way that you would like to share with the FRA community? What's something that you've really found success in, or when have you met a challenge that you've kind of
Yes.
overcome that you'd share to prevent others from doing the same?
Yes, of course. I would say that FRA has some incredible, like, they're just amazing teachers, and they love to help you. And I think that like all the like it was a bit difficult for me because I am definitely an independent learner. It was difficult me for to ask questions, but that's when I learned the most. So I would suggest asking questions, keeping in contact with your teachers. That's when you'll get the most out of school, is when you're in good contact with your teachers. And then also don't be afraid to fail. Especially after joining robotics, I've learned that um, like sometimes my ideas will just plain out like take a nosedive, and that's all part of the fun because you have to learn and you have to improve yourself, your robot, and yourself along in this process.
That is great advice. And you're right. It's not always fun to, to take a nosedive, but then when you can learn from it, it's great.
Yes.
So speaking of learning, what are you doing for your Discovery Fridays? Do you have like an ongoing project, or what are you doing for sort of Discovery Day tomorrow?
So I'm kind of taking a little bit more of a focus on a language. So I am, especially since I'm involved in robotics, I am learning about more about coding and computer programming. And as well, after I do that, I have taken a major interest in Japanese language and culture. So I am doing Duolingo for that. At the moment, I'll be doing that tomorrow. So, yes.
That's awesome. That's a really cool project. Well, thank you for taking a few minutes to chat with me. And I know that the community will really appreciate hearing from you. And best of luck at Duke in the fall. We're really, really proud of you. Thank you, Campbell.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You too.